I'll get him in a minute.
Thank you, sir. Okay. All right, well, I think it's about 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Oconee County Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Thank you for being here, both our board and Adam and you here in the audience. We certainly appreciate y'all coming out for this. We are, just to give you a little brief background of what's going on tonight, Mr. Gilster is our board chair, and he is out of town, so I'm filling in as I'm the vice chair, so I'm filling in in that position this evening. And also Bill Huggins, I know some of y'all may have talked with Bill a lot. He is sick, and so he is not able to be here this evening. Glad to have Adam with us, and certainly appreciate him stepping in for us this evening. Before we get started, we need to have the approval of the minutes for the January 28th meeting. I think we do have a couple of corrections that need to be made. On the members present, Mr. Codner needs to be added to that list. If we could please add his name to the list. And also, my last name is McKee, M-C-K-E-E. I get called McGee, and I get called a lot worse than that sometimes, so I'll take McGee. But did anyone else see anything in the minutes we need to adjust, any revisions? Anyone? If not, do I hear a motion that they be accepted?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Hearing those, all in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the item number 3 on the agenda, which is the public comment. This is for any non-agenda items. If you're here and you're going to speak or want to speak on either of the 2 variance requests, those are on the agenda. But this is for just any non-agenda item. If anyone has anything they'd like to speak on, anyone? Okay, if not, we will move to item number 4, staff update and discussion.
Certainly. The county, just ongoing projects for the county are the comprehensive plan and the corridor plan. Comprehensive plan is still rolling along. Many of you may have received some sort of insert or newspaper special in your yard and or mailbox in the last couple days. That's a survey for the comprehensive plan. Please fill it out if you can. Also working on a corridor plan between Seneca and Clemson. That's all that paperwork up on the wall over there. And hopefully we should have something back from the consultant group by the end of April. Going to member training. Generally speaking, we use the Appalachian Council on Governments to do the ongoing trainings for council members. Bill and I have been talking with the City of Clemson. City of Clemson is trying to put together some sort of training packet, get it approved by the state. If that's the case, then we'll utilize them because they're closer and it'll be a little more organically homegrown, a little more tailored to our particular needs. So that's what we're looking on as far as ongoing training. And then the initial training, Bill Huggins will do. Yeah, that's all I got, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Adam. Anyone have any questions for Adam before we move on? All right, we'll go to item 5, which is our first application VA 19-000001, request for variance of 5 feet from the side property line setback requirement for 2 parcels, tax parcel 150-00-01-439 and 150-00-01-440 on Dodgens Lane in the Seneca area to construct single-family homes on each lot. Before we go any further on this one, the gentleman that has requested the variance is not able to be here tonight to present his case. This is the first time I've been on this board for, I guess, 10 years, and this is the first time that's happened that no one's here to present the case. I would, after talking with some of the board members also, I would think that probably this needs to be tabled until next month, simply because of the fact that there is no one that can present. Staff is not, they cannot present. All they can do is just state facts, but they can't present. And I know y'all have come to speak, and the problem with that is if we let you speak, the way we do this is if you speak for or against either way, the presenter has rebuttal. If he's not here, he can't rebut either. So I'm of the opinion, and would just like to ask the opinion of the board, do y'all want to table this to next time? Do we want to try to go ahead with something this evening? But again, the presenter is not here this evening.
I'd move to table.
I'd second that.
So we have a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor of tabling till next time, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so we're going to table this. I'm sorry y'all had to come down for this. We just found out about it today ourselves. But anyway, you're welcome to come back. I feel sure the notifications will go out again. And Adam, I feel sure this will be taken up to our next meeting. It'll be tabled to that time. So I guess everyone will be notified again at that time. And
The notification process will happen again, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
again, I apologize. This is.
What's the notification process, though? I mean, it's just because we saw a sign at the end of our road. Is that just a notification, or?
No, ma'am. And Adam, if you can explain that,
Sure.
radio and the newspaper.
So we put out a legal ad in the newspaper 30 days in advance. We put the sign out that you saw, and then we sent out a letter to all the properties within 250 feet of the property that's adjacent to it. So that's the notification process.
And also, I think and correct me if I'm wrong on this too, Adam, but you can go to the website and look at the Board of Zoning Appeals, and a lot of times you'll have what's coming up next on there updated too, I believe.
That's correct. When that goes up as well, that would be on our website. The meetings are the fourth Monday of every month. So next month, 4 weeks, whenever. Let's see.
April 22nd. April
That date.
22nd, 6 o'clock.
We'll be back here.
So we would table it until then. We're not going to try and do this earlier or something like that.
No, because with the amount of notification, we need at least the
Right.
notification time.
Okay.
It really wouldn't fly. If there was some sort of extenuating circumstance, you all certainly could do that. However, I don't know that this necessarily falls into that category.
What would we do if for some reason he says he can't be here next time? I mean, he tells you tomorrow, hey, I hear what you're saying, but I can't be here till the 22nd of April. Would we?
See in May. I'm
I'm just asking. Okay.
I would talk to him. We'd have another conversation about that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Again, we apologize for this. There's nothing, I don't think it would be right for us to go ahead without having him do the presentation, because nobody else here could. So anyway, appreciate your patience on that, and hope that y'all will come back. Appreciate y'all's interest in this. You're more than welcome to stay if you want to. If you want to leave, I can certainly understand that if you'd like to leave too. But
Sir, if I may.
thank you. Oh yes, yes.
If you all are not able to make it next time, you certainly are able to provide your comments in a written form, and we'll get it to them. I'll give you my information. So if that's.
I called the number on the sign, and so I just had questions, and was like, all right, well, go to the meeting.
Bill generally, okay, so that's Bill would have gotten all, I got all those tags information. But yes, sorry that number was on the email, but it was me. I'm happy to get back to that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, so we will table that until next time. So that we'll move now to item number 6, which is application VA 19-000002, variance request for application VA 19-000002 of 25 feet from the front setback requirement of 25 feet for tax parcel number 240-00-04-117 on Owens Road in the Seneca area to place a manufactured home. Adam, would you mind giving the statement for the matter before the board, please?
Certainly. Mr. Gardner is proposing a variance for to move a mobile home within the setbacks of his property along Owens Road. And here is the site plan. This dashed line indicates where he would like to move the mobile home and set it up there. The center line of the road is the property line, and as setbacks are measured from the edge of the right-of-way, Mr. Gardner would like a variance from that.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Gardner, would you like to comment?
Oh, yes, sir, thank you.
Please, yes, sir. If you would, yes, sir, if you please, so we can record it. Yes, sir. If you would, please state your name and then just go ahead.
My name is John Gardner, resident of Oconee County, 22 years, a local businessman, entrepreneur, land developer, small-time scale. What I'm requesting is that you gentlemen look at the drawings and all that, and I don't know what you can see. Are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing over here? Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Well, it does say the property line goes to the center of the road, and, you know, this is land that I pay taxes on. I've been paying taxes on it since, gosh, 1994 or 95. And if you all have that letter there, I don't know, I brought a letter over to this gentleman here, and this is the nearest closest neighbor. I'd like to read that letter if that's okay with you, or if you guys have already read it.
Does, if you'd like to read it, that certainly, we'll let you read it in the record. That's fine.
Okay, thank you. All right. This is from Tammy and Wayne Deal, who own the closest property to my property. And I'll read this. I, Tammy Deal, and Wayne Shores are residence owner at 2454 Owens Road. My property in question is 2456, whose property adjoins Mr. Gardner's land. We have no issue with the zoning variance being requested by Mr. Gardner as the adjoining property regards, and they signed it. I can give that back if you want. Thing is, gentlemen, when I originally got this property, I was told the property lines were ditch to ditch, and I am off the ditch, and I'm well elevated above the ditch line anyhow. There's no visual or aesthetic encumbrances that I can see would affect any other neighbors. And as an adjoining statement to that, if you, any of you gentlemen, raise your hand if you've ever been down Owens Road. You've been down there. You absolutely know what's on that road, right? It's not very good looking, especially down further where there's just piles of tires and junk mobile homes and trash. Well, gentlemen, I've been buying up that property for the last 10 years and trying to get it cleaned up. Every time I go down there, I get threatened by Mr. Eddie Owens, who's one of the old landowner there. He's the son of the guy that died, Mr. Dink Owens, used to be the Owens Paving Company. I'm doing my best to clean it up. I've made several complaints to the county about it. I know some of you gentlemen may have opinions about mobile homes. You know, there's poor people out there that need places to live, and I provide that service. And I am certainly am going to do that further on down Owens Road as time goes on. Just most recently, if you look at your map there, can we go back to the drawing, please? If you're looking, may I walk over here? Show you what I'm talking about? Pointer. Can I see my pointer?
I do.
No, I didn't bring one. I can use my pencil if you'd like.
It is. Well, I'm not gonna let you focus stick at my TV, so.
Okay. Don't worry about that. But what I'm getting at, fellas, is
Just push that green button
Bam,
in the middle.
is on which one?
The green dash right there.
Okay. You need a cat in here.
You got it?
It doesn't work.
It's working. You just gotta get
It
it in
is,
the right place.
you're up higher than,
Show the light. Oh, anyhow, if you look,
Right there.
yeah, if you go straight north, there's 3.5 acres there. I own all that around there also. And I just bought a tax sale, another adjoining 29 acres adjacent to that. And so I'm like the only neighbor around there. And as you can see, Mr. and Mrs. Deal, they have no complaints with anything I'm doing over there. And like I say, it's a late model mobile home. It's in pretty good shape, and I like to keep my property looking pretty good if I can. And all I'm asking you gentlemen is that please allow me to put my mobile home right up against my own property line, or up against the right-of-way. Like I say, it's not affecting any visuals, not safety. It's not blocking any trails or paths or sidewalks or bike lanes. And that's I just ask you fellows, please let me do what I want with my own land. That's all I'd like.
Okay, thank you, sir. Staff, Adam, you got any comments?
No, sir. Mr. Gardner came to us. He provided us with all the information in a timely fashion and has shown up. That's what we have, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Obviously, there's no opposition comments here, so we will forego that. And because we have no opposition, I assume you have no rebuttal to any opposition because there's no one here. Any questions from the board for Mr. Gardner? Excuse me, Mr. Gardner, would you mind standing back? I'm sorry. We just like to get all this recorded.
Yes, back at the mic.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Gardner,
Go
you
right ahead.
mentioned the deals. Where do they live? Where's their property?
Okay, well, whoever's got that little pointer there.
That's me.
That's it right there?
Little
Okay.
hand, okay, that's right there.
Yeah.
They
okay.
own that land there, and if you go down one more lot, they own that land too.
Mhm.
And if you go up north into, there you go, I own all that there. And of course, I own all of that right there,
Mhm.
the mini storage and the landscape lumber yard and the motorcycle parts yard. And well, I'm soon gonna own everything around there. That's where it's at, fellas. Ma'am, no objections. I hope y'all let me do what I want with my land. Please.
Any other questions from the board?
What age mobile home are you gonna be on it?
I believe it's a 92. It's in 86, they came up with regulations where mobile homes have to meet certain standards, floor structure size, type of roof. So I'm not putting some flat top junky tin-sided, tin roof piece of junk on there. It's a nice mobile home. It's better than the other one I got there that's been there for 22 years, which nobody can see. It's hidden well in the back.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Could I ask Adam to, could you put on some of the photographs of that property so the board could see?
That one.
I've saved most of the trees around there. As you can see, they're pretty close. I like trees.
Is that mobile home that showed there, is that the one you said is an older one that's already on the property?
No, what you're looking at right there is the mobile home I want to put there.
That is the one you want to put
And
there?
it is in position there right now.
So you can't use it because you have no septic, that's what you're saying?
Oh, I have a septic. Yeah, it's already been approved.
He can't set it up where he wants to set it up.
Go back a couple. There shows the end of the, shows you a little bit of the condition of the trailer.
Yeah, a tree recently fell on it. I got a cover over it right now.
Yeah.
May I make some statements? May I speak?
Yeah.
I have a question. Have you considered putting that trailer parallel to the road rather than perpendicular to
I
it?
thought about that, but what I'd have to do is still I'd have to have the 25-foot setback, which I couldn't squeeze it in. And also, I'd take out a lot of trees, and I don't like taking out many trees. I got a thing about keeping trees.
How about moving it back and removing the boundary on the other property so you could bring it back and not need a variance?
Well, could we go back to the plats, please? Sure. Wish I had a pointer. Okay, I'm gonna walk over here, if you don't mind. Okay, yeah, well, okay, you got the boxed-in area, the little dotted line of the mobile home.
Yeah.
If you look at track 3, that's my property, and if I moved it any further over, it would block the driveway getting down to tract 1, where there is another, yeah, we're like number 118 is that, there's another mobile home I have right down there. Right there where the hand is right now, if you move the hand to the right towards the 119, that's drawn in 119, that entire area there is occupied by a mini storage facility, my storage facility. And I can't really move it over because I want to maintain fire truck access to get down to the other mobile home.
Mr. Gardner, and are you going to rent this, or is this going to be your home?
Right now, I'm going to give it to an employee of mine. And one of the mobile homes is not in best shape, and I'm going to shut it down and tear it down and put in a better one as soon as I get some more money together. And I'm going to give that nicer, newer mobile home to my helper that watches the property. He's kind of like an on-site security guard. You know, he makes sure that none of the criminals down on Owens Road come up there and mess with my stuff. And it is more centrally located.
Yes, sir. I had one more question. You said your septic tank is already in?
Yes, sir,
It's
it
already
is.
been approved?
Yeah.
How did that get approved with,
Well, I didn't put the mobile home there. The mobile home was sitting, could you put the little hand up again? Okay, now drag the hand over towards where it says track 3, where it's written in track 3, right there. That's where the mobile home sat for 4 or 5 years until I could figure out just how I could fit it in there and get approval from the septic people, and that's another thing. I built the septic. I have a license to do septic for my own use. They're called infiltrators. It's not the typical gravel and pipe thing. It's called infiltrators. They require generally a 25% lesser square foot area for drain field. So once I got that all figured out and got the setbacks and the slopes and, you know, away from embankments and all that, because there is an embankment down Owens Road, then I put the septic in. And then I moved the mobile home in and realized I was right up, well, I knew I was on my property, but I wanted to make sure, didn't want to step on anybody's toes, that it wasn't into the right of way. So it's right up against the right of way. It's like probably a foot off the right of way. That answer your question?
yes, sir, I thought that usually the variance would come before, the variance request would come before I guess, I still say the building permit would go through.
So with mobile homes, they get setup permits.
Okay,
And so the first thing they have to get is a septic tank permit. And so that goes in, they flag it off, and then they say, okay, you can put your home in this general area. Mr. Gardner has the equipment, and he slid the mobile home over there, but it's not technically set up, it's not power,
Let's just park there right now.
yeah, it's stored there essentially.
okay, thank you. That, I was just trying to get the sequence there. Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Somebody's calling in a question. Okay, if not, Mr. Gardner, anything else you would like to say to us before we proceed?
Just beg of you folks to please let me do what I want with my own property. I pay a lot of taxes here. I probably pay $12,000 a year in taxes for various properties. And I've done nothing but develop things and make them better.
Okay, thank you
Okay,
very much.
Thank you.
Okay, as most of you are aware, and I guess all of you are aware, we have 4 criteria we look at when we consider these variances. And we can do these one at a time, or we can do all 4 at once. I would just like to hear a motion of which way the board would like to do them tonight.
I move we do them one at a time.
One at a time?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll do them one at a time. The first criteria, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Do I hear a motion in the affirmative for that? On the first one, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of the property. Do I hear a motion in the affirmative for that?
I don't think so. He has property behind it that he can move it onto and stay within the setbacks and guidelines that the county set forth. I don't think he's got a situation where he needs the variance.
You could turn it in a different direction, right here.
Yeah, he can turn it in a different direction. He can move a driveway. I mean, he's asking us to change rules to accommodate him, and I don't see him having other properties why he needs us to do this.
Okay, just one more time to make sure. Is there a motion in the affirmative? No motion in the affirmative. Okay. Well, we'll move to, let's see.
If there's no motion.
There's
in the
no
affirmative,
motion, it's,
then
that's
It's a dead
it.
issue.
it's a
You have
done
to get
deal.
all of these
You
approved.
have to get all those approved,
I think
yeah.
that's why we do them individually, because
Okay. Well, since there is no motion in the affirmative for this criteria, even the very first one, the first criteria that does not, there are not, I guess, the reverse of that would be is that the board feels there are not extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property. And so if that's the case, if there is no affirmative for this first criteria, then this is denied. It is denied. The variance request. Well, I mean, sir, what happens is there's four things that we have to look at. There's four criteria that has to be met before we can proceed with the variance request.
Okay.
And so if the first one, if any of the four is not agreed upon by the board, then it's denied. It has to be denied. I mean, that's just the law.
Yeah, I understand that, but doesn't it have to go vote for on this?
Yeah, well, that's why I asked 3 times for a motion in the affirmative, saying that there are extraordinary exceptional conditions, and apparently the board feels there are not extraordinary exceptional conditions.
Well, the lady mentions that I can move my trailer. I can't move that over. It's going to block the fire department access, and it's also going to swing the trailer over to the septic field. You can't have it over the septic field. You can't have any part of the mobile home hanging out over the septic field if you rotated it even 20 degrees. And it'll be over a slope, because y'all haven't walked the property, so you really are kind of like not being able to see what's actually going on. I mean, please, gentlemen, ladies, this is not affecting my neighbors. It's not hurting anybody. It's my land, and it's not costing anybody any money. It's not a danger. It's not a health hazard. It's not a safety issue. I can't see why there's a problem with leaving it where it's at. It's not hurting anybody. And it's not an extraordinary or exceptional condition having it where it's at. It's not, what's the problem? There is no problem here. Nobody's complained. Nobody showed up. Nobody's probably even written any letters. I mean, after all, this is a neighborhood, you know? I mean, if people were up in arms about this, they'd be here saying something about it. I mean, come on, folks. Please understand it. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not devaluing anybody's property.
And we appreciate that. I understand what you're saying. We just, again, it's not a personal issue or anything else. It's just these are the things that we have to make our decision upon.
Let's look at some definitions here then. Would you read me the criteria, please? And I'm going to write this down and take it point by point, if you don't mind.
There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property?
Yeah, there is extraordinary and exceptional. I'm off the right-of-way. I'm not on anybody's right-of-way. And 25 feet is just absolutely ridiculous on a narrow piece of property like that. That's essentially saying I can't do anything from either side of my property.
That's not what anybody's saying.
Right.
You know, there are other solutions that are available, even if you rotate the mobile home instead of being perpendicular to be parallel, but you stated you don't want to do that because you don't want to cut the trees.
Yeah, and if I rotated that trailer and put it in there, I'm still not going to be 25 feet off the right-of-way. If I put it parallel with the length of that property, I'm not going to be able to get 25 feet off that side. What is it, 15 feet on the back side? I can't do that.
5 feet, is that correct?
5 feet off the rear, sir.
Well, it's 25 feet off the one side. There's no way I can do that.
But if you're asking for a variance of 5 or 10 feet, it might be different, but you're putting it right on the actual right-of-way.
And that's a wonderful point you make, sir, Mr. Honea. I'd like to point that out. When I talked to the roads administrator, they can't tell me whether it's ditch to ditch or whether it's actually center line so many feet over. They don't know. It's always been ditch to ditch, and I'm off the ditch. I'm not on the ditch. You know, don't you people realize I'm trying to help somebody here? I'm trying to help myself, yes, and I'm also trying to help somebody who needs a place to live. And how in the world is it hurting anybody else in that neighborhood? That's extraordinary. If it was hurting anybody, yeah, it would be extraordinary. Come on, folks. There's bigger fish to fry out there. You know, you want to talk about things? How about this wonderful county we have where you say you got to have rustic elegance? Well, go take a look at that apartment complex down, or that hotel they got down there where they cross over out of Clemson. Where's the rustic elegance there? Nothing but a couple of rocks in the front of a building. There is no rustic elegance to that condominium complex or the hotel they put in there. So, you know, that's a glaring fallacy in the procedures that you guys are supporting. I'm not hurting anybody here, folks.
Mr. Gardner, we're certainly not saying that you're trying to hurt anyone or hurt anyone's property value or anything else. These are just the guidelines that we have to go on. It would be the same thing if you were on the lake and you moved on the core line. You may not be hurting anybody. You may not have made anybody mad, but if you're on the core line, I promise you, the U.S. Corps of Engineers is going to say you've got to move your trailer off the core line. And we have criteria that we have to go by. It's not, personally, we may say we don't have a problem with it, but we have to go by what we have been charged by the county to the criteria we have to evaluate.
And that's why you can issue variances, gentlemen.
Yeah, exactly right, yes.
And please, that's all I'm asking is a variance. That's all. I mean, the criteria is, what's the word, extraordinary, and what else?
Extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining
Okay,
to the particular piece of property.
can you explain to me what is so extraordinary about my property? It's not in anybody's right of way. It's on land that I pay for, and I own everything around it. And the neighbors don't care. That's not extraordinary.
And you're exactly right, and that's what we're saying is it's not extraordinary.
Yeah, so why can't you issue it to me? Please.
Yes, sir.
You know, the fact that you own all of that property is what negates the fact of it being an unnecessary hardship.
Yeah.
Because you've got options. You can move it, you could move it to track number 2.
No,
track
can't
number
move it to track number 2.
Well, if you cleaned up some of the stuff that was in there, you could.
Railroad ties and stuff,
Yeah, you
which
can
by
move
the
that-
way, brings a lot of tax money to this
I
county.
understand. I'm just saying, in fact, there's a number of other, I was the one, when I think I met you, I went down and took some photographs.
I don't remember, sir.
Somebody came up with a big
Well,
brim
that was
hat,
was
maybe.
Roy, my helper.
Okay, and I looked at it, and quite frankly, I would think that you could utilize either some of the backland to basically avoid the variance by pushing it back, whether you moved it up towards the track 2 or up in that area, and then move it back and drop that back property line, have that removed, and combine the two pieces of property.
Now we're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars in resurveying.
Yeah, but the financial concerns are not a concern of this board.
That's nice.
But I understand, we can empathize with that. But the fact remains that you have the option to do that. It would be a relatively simple matter to
Well, actually, sir,
to combine those two properties.
I don't have that option. When I bought this whole 3 acres and had it surveyed, I said, I want these lots made so that I can put a septic tank on every single lot. If I change that around, I won't be able to do that. There's grades and there's slopes and there's embankments there that I can't put a septic and be legal.
Mr. Gardner, I'll call again. Are there any extraordinary exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property? Do I hear a motion in the affirmative?
Where do you live at?
There's
You live
no
on the
motion.
lake? Where do you live at?
I live in
I
Coney County.
don't think that's relevant.
I live in Coney County.
Mr. Gardner, we certainly appreciate it and appreciate you bringing this in. If you make some changes and want to approach again for the variance, we certainly will consider it again. But at this time, we'll have to deny your variance request.
What's your name, sir?
John Agar,
How do you spell that?
E-A-G-A-R.
John Agar?
Yes, sir.
And there's nobody in dissension on this. Everybody is in agreement, huh? Is that the deal?
Is we have to make a motion in the affirmative. And you did not, there was no motion made in the affirmative.
Is there no one here that sees the common sense in this? I am not hurting anybody. I am not devaluing any property. I'm not upsetting my closest neighbor. Is there anybody here that can see, before we had zoning, we didn't have these kind of committees, and people could do what they want with their land. I don't understand what the problem here, is, because it's you folks that are telling me what to do with my land that I pay taxes on. We didn't have zoning for a long time. We didn't need people telling us what to do with our land. And that's why it's all screwed up down on Owens Road, because you people let it go for years.
Mr. Garner, thank you. All right, we'll move on to old business. Is there any old business that we need to discuss or take a vote or action on? You've already talked about the upcoming training and that sort of stuff. Anything else we need to bring up? Any new business?
I have something, a new business I would
Yeah,
like to bring
well,
up.
no old business, is that correct? All right, sir. New business. Anybody?
Yeah, anybody else have anything first? I'd like to ask, have we ever considered swearing in the people that are making the requests for the variances?
I've never known us to.
This is
no,
a
sir.
quasi-legal
Right.
board, and I'm wondering, would there be some merit in having them signed in so that they understand that we're serious about the aspects of what they tell us, and have something to go back on in the event that we find something contrary to what they had reported during the
Well,
course of the meeting?
And Adam, you may want to say something about this. That's one reason we always try to keep them over there at the podium, because we are recording.
Yeah.
So that if, we don't swear them in, but we do have a record of what's said, so if something else comes up, we will have that.
That said, I've seen reference somewhere in other proceedings of BZAs that they do swear them in. They do swear witnesses in. So Adam, do you have any information on that?
Not off the top of my head, sir. We can certainly look into it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it really adds anything or not, but I remember I started getting interested in the BZA. I remember reading something about that or being exposed to that, where in some jurisdictions they do swear in. I wondered why we didn't. I think John's got
We can certainly look into it, sir.
a good question, but must not be a rule and regulation that says you got to, because we're not.
I knew that was gonna be a problem. He's
That's
got a
correct.
problem on everything he's ever come up with.
That's the first I've heard anyone even bring it up, so they may be, may not. Adam, you say you're gonna do a little research?
We
on
can do
it?
some research on it.
That's fine. Any other new business we need to bring up?
One question. When do you plan on offering orientation for the newest member?
Bill will get in touch with you. He'll make plans with you.
Beg pardon?
Bill Huggins will get in touch with you. He'll make plans with you.
Some in near term? Would that be near term?
I would imagine so, yes, sir.
Thank you.
I hadn't took but about 150 of them.
All right. Any other new questions? Any other new business? Well, I certainly appreciate y'all being here this evening, and hopefully, good to have a full board once we get Mr. Gilster back, and I think he'll probably be back next time. I certainly appreciate your patience this evening. We kind of had a little warning beforehand that might be a little different, and that's fine. But I appreciate y'all's attention and your patience on that. And with that being said, do I hear a motion we adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
So I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we're adjourned.
We probably gonna